What if you were Miyamoto Musashi? You're 13 years old. You've just killed a man, a trained samurai warrior. He challenged you to a duel. You beat him to death with a wooden stick. This isn't a video game. This isn't a movie. This is your life now. You'll kill 60 more men in single combat before you're 30. You'll become the greatest swordsman in Japanese history. You'll never lose a duel. You'll die undefeated, having revolutionized martial arts philosophy and created techniques still studied 400 years later. But here's what the legends don't tell you. You'll live most of your life homeless, filthy, and psychologically damaged. You'll alienate everyone who tries to get close. You'll be paranoid, obsessive, and unable to trust anyone. And when you finally achieve mastery, you'll realize you've sacrificed everything human to become the perfect weapon. This is a fictional, immersive scenario placing you in Miyamoto Musashi's life from age 13 to 60, experiencing the brutal reality behind the legend. If you want to know what it actually costs to become the greatest at something, subscribe now. Because this isn't about glory, it's about what you lose on the way to perfection. Let's begin your journey. Your name is Miyamoto Musashi. You're 13. Your father abandoned you. Your mother is dead. You've been raised by your uncle, a weapons master, who taught you to fight because that's all you're good for. A samurai named Arima Kihei comes to your village. He's picking fights to build his reputation. Your uncle won't fight him. It's beneath his dignity to duel someone so arrogant. But you're young and furious, and you challenge him. Everyone expects you to die. The duel is short. Arima has a real sword. You have a wooden bokken, essentially a stick. He's confident, experienced. You're terrified but too proud to show it. He swings. You dodge. He swings again. You're faster, younger, desperate. You see an opening. You strike his temple. Once, twice, 3 times. He goes down. You keep hitting. His skull fractures, blood pools. He stops moving. You've just killed a man. You're 13 years old. You feel nothing. That's what scares you most. No guilt, no horror. Just the realization, I'm good at this. Killing is something I can do. Your uncle tells you to leave. Stay, and Arima's clan will hunt you down. So you take your bokken and start walking. You won't have a permanent home for the next 30 years. You wander Japan, challenging fighters everywhere. This is the Sengoku period. Constant warfare. Skilled fighters are common. You need to fight the best to become the best. You eat once a day, sometimes less. You sleep outside, in temples, under bridges. You don't bathe for weeks. Your clothes are rags. You look like a beggar, which helps. Opponents underestimate you. You develop a strategy. Show up late. Let your opponent get angry, impatient, off balance, then strike fast and finish it. Psychological warfare is as important as technique. At 18, you fight Yoshioka Seijuro, head of the prestigious Yoshioka School in Kyoto. You defeat him with a wooden sword against his steel blade. You break his arm. He retires in shame. His brother, Yoshioka Denshichiro, challenges you to restore family honor. You kill him. 1 strike. Dead. Now the entire Yoshioka school wants you dead. They send Yoshioka Matashichiro, the youngest brother, still a child, with dozens of armed students for ambush. You arrive early. Your late arrival tactic reversed. You hide. When Matashichiro appears with his army, you charge from hiding, kill the boy with 1 strike, and cut your way through the ambush. You kill several more. The rest flee. You're 21. You've destroyed one of Japan's most prestigious martial arts schools. You're famous. You're also completely alone. You realize something. You're winning, but you're not improving. Opponents are too predictable. You need stronger challenges. You start fighting multiple opponents simultaneously. Not just duels, actual combat against groups. You develop two sword fighting, using katana and wakizashi together. This is revolutionary. Every other swordsman uses one blade. You use two. The training is brutal. You practice for hours daily, but not structured practice. You just fight. Anyone, everyone. You challenge dojo masters, wandering ronin, soldiers. Some fights are official duels, many are just street fights. You're developing paranoia. You never turn your back to doors. You sleep with weapons within reach. You trust no one. Every stranger might be an assassin sent by families of men you've killed. You try having relationships. They fail. You can't relate to normal people anymore. Someone talks about farming, family, everyday concerns. You can't engage. Your world is technique, strategy, combat. Nothing else registers. You're becoming inhuman. A weapon in human form. You notice this. You don't stop. Sasaki Kojiro, the greatest swordsman in Japan, may be better than you. He uses a nodachi, a longer blade that gives him reach advantage. He's never lost. He's graceful, precise, technical perfection. You're brutal, unconventional, psychologically manipulative. Style versus substance. Art versus pragmatism. The duel is set for Ganryu Island. You arrive hours late. Your signature strategy. Kojiro is furious, off balance. You carved a wooden sword from a boat oar on the way. It's oversized, crude. It gives you reach. The duel lasts seconds. He draws. You strike. One blow to his skull. He's dead before he hits the ground. You've just killed the only person in Japan who might have been your equal. You're the undisputed greatest swordsman alive. You feel nothing. No triumph. No satisfaction. Just emptiness. Because now what? There's no one left to fight. No one left to test yourself against. You've reached the peak, and from the peak, you see clearly what you've sacrificed to get here. You keep fighting, but it's meaningless. Opponents are too weak. You're not learning. You're not growing. You're just accumulating corpses. You participate in the siege of Osaka, fighting for the Tokugawa. Massive battle. Thousands die. You distinguish yourself. You don't care. After the battle, Japan enters the Tokugawa peace. The age of warfare is ending. Samurai are becoming bureaucrats. Dueling is being outlawed. Your entire skill set is becoming obsolete. You're a master of something the world no longer needs. You start painting, calligraphy, sculpture. You're trying to find meaning beyond violence. The art helps, but it doesn't fill the void. You're too damaged, too specialized. You can create beauty, but you can't feel it. You realize the horrible truth. You sacrificed your humanity to master the sword, and now the sword has no purpose. You're old now. Your body is breaking down. Decades of violence, malnutrition, and exposure have destroyed you. You look 20 years older than you are. You retreat to a cave in Kumamoto. For 2 years, you write the Book of 5 Rings. Everything you've learned about strategy, combat, philosophy, life. Writing it, you realize something. The techniques you developed weren't about swordsmanship. They were about perceiving reality clearly and acting decisively. The sword was just the medium. You could have applied this to anything: governance, art, commerce, building something instead of destroying. But you chose destruction because it was what you were good at, because it gave you purpose, because you were too traumatized and too broken to imagine another path. Your book becomes your legacy, not the 60 men you killed, not the duels you won, but the ideas, the philosophy, the insight that perfection in one domain requires understanding broader principles. You die at 62, alone in your cave, undefeated, the greatest swordsman who ever lived. And in your final moments, you wonder, was it worth it? Living as Miyamoto Musashi means understanding something modern culture refuses to acknowledge. True mastery requires sacrifice that borders on insanity. You gave up family, friendship, comfort, security, normalcy, everything, to become perfect at one thing. And that one thing was killing people. The romantic version of Musashi is the undefeated warrior philosopher. The reality is a traumatized, obsessive, emotionally crippled man who became so specialized he lost the ability to function as a normal human being. You'd be homeless for 3 decades. You'd kill 60 people, most of whom were just trying to build their own reputations like you. You'd be paranoid, isolated, and psychologically destroyed by violence you both inflicted and survived. And at the end, you'd write a book that people study for centuries. They'd admire your wisdom. They'd revere your discipline. They wouldn't know you were broken. Miyamoto Musashi represents the extreme endpoint of dedication, total commitment, absolute focus, the sacrifice of everything else to master one discipline. Modern hustle culture glorifies this. Be like Musashi, master your craft, eliminate distractions. What they don't mention is that Musashi was a homeless killer who died alone in a cave, having alienated everyone who ever tried to care about him. Mastery costs. Real mastery costs everything. The question isn't whether you're willing to work hard, it's whether you're willing to lose your humanity in exchange for perfection. Most people aren't, and that's probably healthy. Musashi couldn't stop. From age 13, when he killed for the first time, he was trapped on a path he couldn't escape. By the time he had the wisdom to understand what he'd sacrificed, it was too late to get it back. He was the greatest swordsman in history. He was also one of the loneliest, most psychologically damaged people who ever lived. Now I want to hear from you. If you could have Musashi's mastery but had to pay his price, homelessness, isolation, psychological damage, and losing everything human, would you do it? Do you think modern, obsessive dedication to craft culture understands what it's actually asking people to sacrifice? And can you achieve excellence without becoming broken? Or is that the unavoidable cost? Drop your thoughts below. And if this fictional immersion into Musashi's life made you reconsider what mastery actually costs, share it with someone glorifying hustle culture without understanding the price. Because Musashi paid it, and even he questioned if it was worth it.